I see people, both Jews in the United States, people in Iran and in other places, really admire Netanyahu when many of us really think he's not a very good prime minister. Me included, I don't really like him, but I do see how people like him from the outside. So I say there's definitely a very big gap between how we see our
Yeah.
condition from the inside and how people see it from the outside. And I think some external nations try to use that to our disadvantage, both here and the US.
Israel's a democracy, and having disagreements is what makes your country great. The fact that you have different views in Israel regarding your prime minister is a feature, not a bug. If I was Israeli, I would be impressed regarding how many of my enemies have been decapitated in the short amount of time after October 7th. I
I
understand some people
definitely
blame
am
him for
impressed with
October.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, of
I mean, I
course.
could if I was Israeli, I would never imagine that within 2 years, Hezbollah, Hezbollah and Hamas have been decapitated. The Houthis have been bombed better than the Americans bombed them, and all of the main leaders of IRGC are killed.
Well,
Like that to me,
I was impressed even before that. I was impressed when, after a couple months, the IDF seemed to be to take the upper hand of Hamas. Because at first I was afraid we've lost our edge. Within 2-3 months, I was totally impressed. The thing is, there are good things and bad things, and there are some things about the good things. I think it's not just Netanyahu, it's a combination of his decision making, of course, but also of the strategists in the
yeah.
IDF and everything.
Mm.
So I agree that our condition is definitely not as bad as it seems to many of us. Yeah,
Israel's future is very, very bright based on what's about to happen in technology. The countries that are in the best position to take advantage of what's about to happen, Israel is really high up there. Israel's
yeah,
future
probably
seems really,
so.
really good.
Well, my worries are more about how Russia and Qatar and other nations seems to be able to influence inner public views in countries like Israel and the US in such
Mm.
a massive impact that this becomes an actual danger,
Yeah.
something to consider.
Yeah. Well, Israel was like survived much more aggressive environments and thrived despite it. So this is nothing compared to what Israel had to deal with before.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Okay, next we have Loquacious, and welcome in, new member.
Hi, can you hear me okay?
Hi, yes. Welcome.
Well, thank you. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of your channel. I'm not Iranian, but definitely support everything everyone's doing. I'm here for kind of a similar reason as Ramteen. I'm a software engineer and full stack web developer, and I'd be happy to contribute. If there is any work, I do everything from deployment to architecture, and if we wanted anything with security to help make sure people can do things anonymously while still providing authentication and admin stuff. There's a whole variety of things, if there's I'd love to contribute some time. If there is nothing that needs to be done, I could always just be another pair of
No,
eyes or whatever. So in any way that I'm needed, I'd love to contribute.
no,
Help
that's
you.
very much like when I sent the previous guy's email to Patipto. Patipto was very grateful. He said, "Thanks for delivering this message. I will reply to his email." So if you want me to send you, like, you're talking about the website, right? The
Yeah,
Mozduria website?
yeah.
Okay.
Or if there's
Okay.
or anything related to it that needs to be done. Absolutely.
Yep. I think that's the highest priority right now. So if you want to give me your email to Patipto,
Yeah,
let me
sure.
know.
Just put my email in chat.
And also, after your email, if you could also mention who you are, so I could copy and paste it as well.
Sure. I'll give a brief explanation.
He's my fiance. He's Jewish. We're not Iranian, but we love you guys. Very talkative.
Oh, thank you.
Sorry, Armin. Is it the facesofcrime.org? Is that the website, or is there another website?
It's down right now because it's under attack. Mozduria website.
So
Okay,
yeah,
Masria?
there's stuff I can probably help with that to maybe create some rate limiting or put a few more layers of stuff on so that we can make it more resilient.
Okay.
I'd like to get in touch with whoever's working on it. We can put our
Yeah,
heads
that would
together
really
and see
be
how we can
nice.
make it better.
Yeah. The guy is an actual freedom fighter from inside Iran, so that's the guy you're going to be dealing with. And the
Well,
fact that the site is under attack shows that it has been effective. That
exactly. No, that's a good sign. It actually means that you've got more people than you can handle. But yeah, I have worked with some, everything from startups to really big companies that have had to scale with
amazing.
large
You've
numbers
done
of
like
people.
badass stuff that like
Yeah, I've
you
also
did for
done
like
I did like stuff with radio and
radio
yeah, like we're sending radio over the
communications.
internet and back and forth through that. That was many years ago.
Wow.
That's how I started.
I love how much your fiance believes in your work as well. That's very nice. That's
He's
very
really
sweet.
smart. I mean, I know you
uh,
guys are like insane, but like he's just you will
uh,
not be let down. Okay.
so I don't see your email though. Did you
Oh
put it
yeah,
in the chat?
I'll put my email first. No, that's fine. I can use mine.
Wait, Armin, can you send me the email to get in touch with Petito?
I don't have his email. I have his WhatsApp. I could ask him if he wants. Let me ask his permission.
So I put my email in chat. I can put a brief description of what I can help with, or if that's helpful, or any other information that would be helpful.
Thank you so much to everyone who contributes in any way that you can, whether just watching the stream and liking it, coming here, sharing, clipping, and especially now with this cybersecurity help. That it's really amazing, you guys, how everybody is able to come together and kind of put our arms around our Iranian friends in any way that we can. So I really appreciate that, you guys. Next, we have Richard, and a reminder that we have 20 minutes remaining with you, Armin.
Oh, okay.
Oh, hi, Armin. I just wanted
Hi.
to follow up on something you had mentioned earlier and give you my 2 cents on that. I think this applies really to any non Islamic country, but would especially apply in post Islamic Republic Iran. You had mentioned the shame and the social negativity associated with being Muslim in an environment where there's a tremendous public distaste for it. That kind of shame leads to this isolation and angst that provides a fertile recruiting ground for Islamic terrorist groups. They've had a lot of success recruiting disillusioned youth in environments just like that. I know you had mentioned previously the importance of positively engaging with Muslims while fully condemning Islam and gently steering them away from Islam as a means to fight Islam. That would apply more so in post Islamic Republic Iran than probably anywhere else. We could be talking about hundreds of thousands or millions of disaffected youth. So I just wanted to make sure that was, something to keep in mind.
So what do you suggest? Can you come back? Come back. So what is like? What are you suggesting? Something specific, Richard?
Only in the sense that Islamic groups historically have had a lot of success recruiting from environments like
Right.
that. Situations where people feel
Yes.
isolated and and feel angst. A lot of times, young people, but not
But then
always. Because of the anti-Islamic
I
climate where
but
they live.
But then how do you manage that? Because the anger is so high
Yeah,
and so many people are associating, I mean, justifiably, in my opinion, the
completely
massacre to
justifiably.
Islam.
Yeah.
And they're also seeing so many people, elderly people, so younger people leaving Islam, that's normal in Iran.
Mm.
But now we're seeing elder people, like so many reports are coming out of Iran, like, oh my God, my mom actually has stopped praying for the first time in many
Yeah.
years, right? So
Yeah.
and you see elderly people who used to be like, oh my God, don't say this. They're saying I shit on Islam. Like grandmas and grandpas are saying I shit on Islam. People who used to not miss a single prayer. So when you see, then the expectation is not going to go high. They're like, look, my grandma wears a hijab and she used to pray every single day. And now she's saying I shit on Islam. So what's your excuse? So in that environment, like I think if I make a show in Persian and say like, guys, we should tone it down, they will boo me too. They were like, fuck you, Herman, we're gonna unsubscribe. Like, so I don't know how you're going to like the situation is like the anger is
Yeah.
really really high, so I don't know Like, what do you think? Like,
I
how
mean, you had mentioned before, I think, on Atheist Republic itself, the importance of positively engaging with Muslims, basically treating them as victims of Islam
Yes, yeah.
themselves. If it's realistic, I think that might be the best approach in a post-Islamic Republic Iran, is you basically put the blame on Islam proper, and you characterize the followers of that ideology as victims to the extent it's possible. Basically, just don't negatively engage with the people, because you might contribute to an environment where they have an incentive to sort of fight against the system and fight against non-Muslims. So I think if there's a way to sort of appropriately demonize Islam proper, but not necessarily demonize the people who follow it or maybe are confused about it, that might be the right approach, to the extent it's even possible.
To do that, in my opinion, is to highlight the Muslims who were fighting the regime side by side with us during this war, right? The best thing to
But I think it's important to remember, a post-Islamic Republic is going to have inevitably a fragile security situation. It could be a really good recruiting ground for terrorist groups, for Muslim terrorist groups. So that's something to just think about as the new government, transitional government, is getting established. The most you can do to discourage recruitment to these terrorist groups.
That's a fair point.
I also think we can't underestimate how happy Iranians are going to be after this. Not as if they're going to let anybody get away with anything, but to be able to live their own lives for once in some of these people's lifetime is going to be something too. But I love that point, Richard. That's a really, really good point, and something to remember, because you certainly don't want to, again, create the breeding grounds to make this happen again. So. Next, we have Dijal, and we are at our 15-minute mark.
Hey, what's up, guys? Yeah, I think Muslims are going to have a hard time in a post-Islamic Iran. I really do. I think you're going to have a lot of people who just aren't going to be willing to put up with that. I mean, look at all the mosques that have been getting burned down, hundreds of them at this point. And when you get what I think is going to come, which is a constitutional parliamentary monarchy, you're not only going to have a king, I think we'll probably have real executive power who will remember his own mistakes while also still, trying to be, defend everybody's rights. But you're also going to have a bunch of people forming parties, and you're going to have different parties. And there are going to be some parties that are going to be pretty damn anti-Islamic. And you're going to have the MEK types who are going to be vying for power and such, and you're going to have problems with them to begin with. And you just need to realize that you are going to have that problem and you're going to have to deal with them. There will be issues, and some of these people are just going to have to be completely, like the MEK, outlawed altogether, just like they should have been in his father's kingdom. But that's just the way it is. What's that, Armin?
All right, so yeah, don't worry about the MEK. The MEK will be completely banned. No, they don't have a chance to come back to Iran. Oh my God! Like the MEK's chances in Iran is less than the Islamic Republic itself, right? So
right.
Okay, yeah, so let me just answer this regarding the having problems. Now that I think about it, if I want to respond to both you and Richard, we have something that might actually make our work a lot easier when it comes to stopping radicalization, and that is Prince Reza Pahlavi, because he is going to be anti mistreating Muslims in Iran, right? And when he stands for something, most people follow, right? So he is going to be a major source of de-radicalization that is going to basically calm things down after the Islamic Republic falls.
Fair point.
This is why we're so lucky to have him, by the way.
I agree. Yeah. And that's why it's a good thing for him to have actual power to be a real king, which I think is what people are going to want anyway. But yeah, he's a definite advantage.
Okay, next we have MM. All right, moving on to Heidi.
Hi, actually, I noticed I was going to reply to left-handed and what is it, Sani? Yeah, the most people in the United States, actually both inside and outside, don't consider that the United States has multiple layers of safeguards that were built in to kind of protect local culture. But anyway, since we've moved on from that, I'm not going to go into it, but that needs to be taken into consideration. It's not just the federal government that kind of impacts life. So that's all. But they're gone now.
One thing, yeah. So one thing I need to mention regarding, I this reminds me about something is, this is actually a good example for why you cannot copy other countries just because it's working for them, right? In the same way that we discussed that Israel has been very successful when it comes to higher birth rates, but it's not copyable. America has been very successful with federalism, but federalism, for example, in Iran would be a disaster, right? This
It
is
would be
why
problematic. You're right.
it would be a huge problem in Iran. So federalism is really good for America, but it would not be good for Iran. And this shows that just because a country is seeing results, you cannot just copy and paste what they're doing. You have to take your own culture, your own history, your own people, your own geography, and so many other things into account. Good.
The last one, we have Eric, and then Armin, we did have someone who wanted to speak to you after the recording is done. However, I'm not sure if they're still in chat or not, but Eric, the floor is yours.
Thank you, BT. Hey guys, so I just wanted to share an update on what's going on in Europe and their actions, or maybe lack thereof actions. Last week there were a debate in the Swedish parliament. I'm from Swedish and I'm also half Iranian. Every party in Sweden that were represented in the parliament is for listing the IRGC and the regime as terrorists. Tomorrow there will be a meeting between the foreign ministers of the EU. The Swedish foreign minister was hopeful that they were going to list some people from the regime or affiliates to the regimes as terrorists. Hopefully we'll get new sanctions tomorrow. They didn't mention any names and they said specifically representatives, so I don't think there will be an entire listing of the IRGC. And also that came up during debate, there was Alipur from a party in Sweden. He actually mentioned to open up communication with Reza Pahlavi. He was the only one to do so. And also there were other representative called Ali Reza Akhundi that mentioned that there were some economic interests to not list the IRGC as terrorists. Not only just like, because there has been a lot of talk on like it's because of ideology, but there's actually also economic reasons. So he specifically mentioned saffron trade between the IRGC and Spain. I'm not sure if that's true. That was just what he said.
Saffron trade?
Yes.
They're concerned about the saffron trade?
Yeah,
That's what?
that's what he said. Yeah.
After like a massacre of more than 30,000 Iranians by the Islamic Republic, they're not listing the IRGC as a terrorist group because of saffron?
Yeah.
Okay.
Get the saffron from Spain. It's not as good, but damn.
And although I looked into the numbers of like the trade between the EU and Iran for like the last couple of years, and now the numbers for last year haven't come out, but in 2024 it was still $4 billion in European Union exports to Iran. And if you look at some countries like that are mentioned in blocking this listing, they've listed Italy, France, Spain, and Germany. They have quite large exports numbers to Iran. There's not like crazy high, but they are still high. Germany, for example, they have 1.3 billion US dollars, and Italy they have 554 million, and they also import a lot of cheap steel. So there's not just only the ideological stuff, it's economics as well.
It's interesting because European countries always, like many times, try to pretend that, oh, United States is so concerned about economy, not about human rights, but we European countries have higher standards and we care about human rights and we stand for human rights even when America doesn't. America wants oil. America wants oil. You want saffron? Like if America sells human rights for the sake of oil, you're selling human rights for the sake of saffron?
Yeah.
Like, what a. By the way, I just want to say, Eric, I really appreciate you. The fact that you're doing this and you're like trying to be part of the solution.
Yeah, I'm really thankful for you as well to like provide the space and giving us your time and so on. So really appreciate your words as well. Thanks.
Thank you. But just one last thing, do you think what do you think our strategy should be as Iranians? Like humiliation or encouragement, more advocacy in Europe, or just focus more on United States? Do you have any suggestions?
Yeah, I'm not sure because it's so divided and like some on one hand we have like the politicians as I described. It's both economic and the ideology for some persons, and then we have the media, which in Sweden is, I don't know what they're doing. They publish some articles like the Shah ruled with an iron fist, talking about Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, and they posted another one with Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi in quotation marks, like he's not the Crown Prince. And they also in the same article wrote the so-called Crown Prince, and
Wow.
and also there's like in Gothenburg this week I had a demonstration there, so it's
Oh no.
yeah, but I think it's just pushing harder on the European Union. Like, I mean, they even though they don't have a significant military and can do strikes to weaken the regime, I think, public pushing at the members of parliament to like create some action at least.
One last question: when you say ideological reasons, can you really shortly, answer what do you mean? Like, what is our ideological reasons? I understand the economic ones, but
Yeah, because right now I think everyone in here at least agrees on that. Reza Pahlavi is the only he's the only guy who can bring this home, and then you have some other members in the parliaments, in the European parliaments, that like, "Oh, no, he's not the guy, we should not let him hijack this revolution," and they think this is some kind of MEK revolution. And yeah, because the ideological point is more like a lack of support for Reza Pahlavi than they are in support of something else. That's like my take on it.
So they're not. I mean, even if they didn't believe in Prince Reza Pahlavi, can they not at least admit that he's not going to be massacring thousands of Iranians in the streets? Like, can they not just admit that it's going to be an improvement, even if you don't like him? Like, unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, who is more net good for the world? Is it Reza Pahlavi or is it Ali Khamenei? So, yeah.
Yeah. All right, guys. Okay. BT. Oh, cat lady.
Yes.
So first of all, I want to see if it works also with the sound. So, good?
Yes.
Okay. I hear myself. Okay, weird. I need to work on I heard myself twice. It's distracting. So, do you remember before all of this began that you were talking about Fuentes and all of that?
Yes.
I heard today something amazing. He's like, we should continue the aid. He did more of that, and he's actually telling, no, guys, you're mistaken. If we let them win, they will be stronger than us.
Who?
Nick.
No, Nick. Who is he talking about? Support aid for who?
Israel. He's like praising Israel.
What?
Yeah, and people are actually talking against him now. So I was so happy.
Is he being ironic? Is he like being?
No. He actually realized that if he wants to hurt us, he needs to hurt us, not to lie that he wants America first and all that, which is so weird for him to expose.